Welcome to Weekly Pulse. This week we're talking Super Bowl ads. We've got an interview with Titans running back Derrick Henry, and we'll round it out with a conversation about the NHL and its COVID safety. Let's roll. It's time for Weekly Pulse, your heartbeat to what's trending in sports. Everyone knows how crazy expensive it is to have a 30-second ad in the Super Bowl. Well, surprisingly, this year, a lot of companies we usually see in the big game are sitting on the sidelines. The CEO of United Entertainment Group, Jared Moses, tells you everything you need to know.
We're entering a bit of a strange and uncharted time with the Super Bowl, and certainly with the commercial landscape. And there's a few things going on. The first thing is there's an overall sensitivity with advertising in the Super Bowl and making sure that your advertisement is appropriate. And I think a lot of brands now are nervous and a bit concerned about being perceived the right way, and frankly being aware of what's happening in the world. And so a lot of brands are either choosing to pull out of the Super Bowl this year and redirect their funds to more of a philanthropic initiative. The second piece is brands are redirecting their ads where they're either focusing on just halftime, like Pepsi, or they're creating more of an awareness before the Super Bowl utilizing digital and social. There's no surprise that the digital and social landscape around the Super Bowl is just as robust as during. And then lastly, they're investing in the Super Bowl, they're running their commercials, but they're making sure the commercials are more purpose-driven and more geared towards an inspirational message than kind of an over-the-top commercial message. I think humor is a focus. I don't know if it'll be the central focus. I think that you'll see spots that are humorous, but I think you'll see more spots this year that are more purpose-driven and more inspirationally driven than humorous. I think there's an opportunity to do that. And I think people will be open to becoming more brand aware and having more of a brand recall with spots that play to the emotion and the need of being inspired today. So I think you'll have humor because humor can be inspirational. And again, it's about sports entertainment. So advertising can play into the entertainment piece with humor as long as it's responsible humor. And so I think you'll see both inspirational, purpose-driven content and humorous content as well.
Despite a few last-minute changes, the NFL has been able to pull off every scheduled game this season. Nonetheless, our own Jory Epstein, Mike Jones, and Lorenzo Reyes join me in a roundtable chat to tie some loose ends on the season, what we can expect next season given COVID, and how the quarterback situation would play out. We've got Jory, Mike, and Lorenzo with me. So Jory, I kind of want to start off with something that I find the most surprising about this season. We saw the Titans, the Ravens, the Browns all deal with outbreaks on the team. The schedule got shuffled. We had games that felt like pretty much every day of the week this season. But nonetheless, no game was canceled. Every game was played, and we have just one left, the Super Bowl. So how on earth did the NFL pull this off?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike and I talked this week with some of the guys from the NFLPA, and they were saying on one hand, they're thrilled that we made it this far. On the other hand, they are counting down the days to the Super Bowl, just hoping that everything is going to be okay. But I think something that was interesting to me is the NFL is not going into a bubble for the postseason, in large part because they say they believe in their protocols and they view the fact that no player tested positive in the week leading up to the championship games as a really huge win and reflection of the fact that they've got daily PCR testing, they have testing available to friends and family, they've got the distancing measures in place, the masks, even more strict measures when they travel. And so I think what it comes down to is, that's not to downplay the fact that 262 players did test positive this season and nearly 500 staff members, but they do feel like they've got this protocol in place, and if they've made it this far, they can make it the rest of the way.
And Mike, you're actually going to be on site for the game. What do you think the Super Bowl is going to look like given COVID, only a certain amount of fans are there, the media is a little bit different? What do you expect it to look like?
Well, as far as everything around the Super Bowl. The week's going to be very different. The players, the whole normal Super Bowl hoopla, that Monday night, the leading into the week of the Super Bowl, isn't going to happen in person. It's going to be virtual. The teams, obviously Tampa's already there. The Chiefs aren't getting there till Saturday, so you're not going to have anything in the city that has that buzz with all the players and everything. They'll still have their fan fest that's going to be on the waterfront, and because Tampa is pretty wide open anyway, from what I've seen from friends' social media posts and everything, I imagine that's going to be pretty crowded. There's got to be a good attendance for that. They're going to have around 20-something thousand fans, that are going to be there, including some healthcare workers that are vaccinated. And, it's going to be spaced out, but I still think that once you get to the game, it's going to feel as much like a Super Bowl as we could have expected or hoped for.
And Lorenzo, Brady right now, as you know, is the undisputed greatest of all time, but it's easy to see Mahomes' trajectory and what he's been able to do so far early in his career. Do you think it's fair to already have the debate of who's going to be the greatest of all time, given how Mahomes could become? Is this a real debate? And Jory, Mike, I want you to chime in the end. I'm curious what you guys think too.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. I think right now, we got to put a little respect on Tom Brady. This is his 10th Super Bowl. It's crazy, really, when you think about how things change. But with that said, you look at what Patrick Mahomes is doing, and it's incredible. I mean, I think if this pace continues, even for just a few more years, we have to throw him in that conversation. With Mahomes, it's like a physical, gifted skill set that I'm trying to think of other players that we've seen, and it just doesn't, he has Russell Wilson's ability to improvise and then look down the field. He has Dan Marino's anticipation, and he has a cannon that John Elway had. He's the perfect quarterback.
Build a quarterback.
That's why when you look at these games and it's the Chiefs are down 9, I'm sitting there thinking all right, I'll give them 8 minutes, a quarter maybe, and it'll be tied by the end of the half, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. So yeah, it's scary. It's really scary what he can do.
Jory, Mike, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that one thing that really stands out to me, and we were talking to Mahomes about this earlier in the week, is that moment in 2018 postseason 2 years ago when the Patriots beat the Chiefs in overtime in the AFC Championship, and Brady goes and finds Mahomes in the tunnel of Arrowhead Stadium after the game, and it was look, you're doing great, you are great, and if you keep up things the way you're doing it, you're going to be back in this game. And now what do you know, 2 years later, Mahomes did get back to that game twice, and he won it both times. And I think that Brady sees that Mahomes could become what he has, even though, like Lorenzo said, we got to put respect on the ridiculous rate that Brady's reaching these Super Bowls. And I think also, like Lorenzo mentioned, one thing that just really stands out is how each of these guys are not only talented on their own, but bring up everyone around them. And we saw that again in the AFC Championship this week when McCole Hardman muffed the punt, and Mahomes didn't just still believe in him. He specifically went to Hardman and was look, he got him involved on a touchdown play. He got him involved on a big gain. And I think both of those guys just really elevate their franchises.
I agree that there's a chance. I still think the true test is going to be what happens in a couple years when they have to start unloading some salary cap. All that dead weight. They've got a really talented roster right now that helps make any jobs easy. I'm not taking anything away from Mahomes because he is a wizard. But what happens, like we saw with Tom Brady, when he's got dudes who should be working for UPS as his go-to wide receivers and running backs? And as we saw, Brady elevated those guys and did stuff with them that nobody could do. As we saw, Cam Newton, former MVP, maybe not exactly what he was, but they really struggled without Brady there. So what happens with Mahomes when Tyreek Hill, they have to make a salary cap dump, or Kelsey is gone and they've got a bunch of young guys? Can he elevate them to that point? I think mentally he does have the command of the offense and everything like that. He's joined at the hip with his coach and his offensive coordinator. But once they have to start working with a little bit of a talent deficiency because of financial reasons, if he can continue to win with that kind of restraints, then yes, I say he does have a really good chance, health-wise, knock on wood, to surpass or equal Brady.
Hang tight. We'll be right back with more from our NFL Roundtable after the break. Welcome back to Weekly Pulse. Let's get right back to our State of the League conversation. All right, guys, I want to play a quarterback matchmaking game. It's going to be fun. It's our Bachelorette style. So, as you guys know, we could have more than half the teams in the league have a new starting quarterback next season, which would be an unprecedented amount of change that could happen. I want each of you to give me one quarterback that would be a perfect fit for one team. Some examples: Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Watson, the Colts, the Texans, Niners. I want you guys to give me one quarterback and one team you would love to see be a perfect match. Mike, you go first.
I am going to say, because I'll go a little less obvious, I'm going to say Jimmy Garoppolo to New England. Back with Bill Belichick, the guy who loved him and he wanted to keep him, but Tom Brady and Robert Kraft kind of forced his hand for him to part with him. The 49ers aren't totally in love with him. Availability is the best ability, and he has not fully been durable. And then when he is on the field, there's some times where he has deficiencies, but Bill Belichick knows him, loves him. He would be the perfect fit. The 49ers could probably get back the second round pick that they gave up to get him, and then they could move on, and that would solve New England's problem for the successor for Tom Brady, which they badly need.
I like that one. Lorenzo, what are you thinking?
Really quickly, I love that, Mike Jones. That's awesome.
I like that.
I remember people talking, I would talk to people at the Patriots, and they were, when that whole Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady thing was going down, they were convinced, at least the people that I talked to, that Jimmy was a franchise caliber quarterback. So I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. And let's get this man an offensive line, please. One that can block and protect him. So I'm going to put him in Indy because that is one of the best units in the league. You have an offensive-minded coach in Frank Reich. Obviously, Phillip Rivers has moved on. You have some nice weapons that are young and coming up. Improving defense, I really, really would love that. And not only that, I know this is never going to happen, and this is purely for my entertainment purposes, but how awesome would it be for him to somehow make his way within a division and then stick it back to Houston?
Yep. I like that one. As an Indy, from being from Indiana, I like that. Jory, your turn.
I kind of want to see, I'd be curious to see what Stafford could do in Washington, because I feel like they want to have that team, the leadership he can provide, the experience. I think Washington, obviously their defense is fantastic, and I think that their offense has a lot of the pieces, and they have that mentality of they're going to improve, and to have someone who's been there before, I think that could really help them. But I am curious, who do y'all think will be Houston's quarterback if Deshaun is not? Because who's going to want to go there?
That's a great point.
I think, so Darnold's one, or you get that number 2 pick and you just draft Justin Fields and just start building this thing with a bunch of young guys and go that way. Because, like you said, no veteran's going to want to go there. I guess if he's traded, he's got no choice. But I think that if you can, and you get that number 2 pick, or you get the picks, you jump up to number 2, go get Fields, start from scratch, and build this thing.
It's going to depend on the head coach too, right? Whoever they bring in. Yeah, whoever they bring in is gonna. That's sort of the whole. That's going to determine the structure of the offense and how they want to shape it. But that team, though, that's just.
It doesn't look too hot.
It's a tough sell.
Welcome back to Weekly Pulse.
One constant force throughout the NFL this season has been Titans running back Derrick Henry. King Henry surpassed 2,000 rushing yards and totaled 17 touchdowns. I got the chance to talk to him about his season and what we can expect next year. Check it out.
And you recently turned 27. We see guys like Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore playing well into, their 30s. What is your mentality in terms of staying fresh, given how well you take care of your body? How long do you see yourself playing at this level?
I'll play till I can't anymore, and I think it's important. You got to take care of your body just so you'll be able to play at a high level week in and week out. And as running backs, we get hit a lot, so you got to make sure you're doing those things. And hopefully, as I get down the road and get into my 30s, I can team up with those guys. Well, not team up, but get in contact with those guys to see what they did to be able to make it this far and keep playing and keeping their body healthy.
Yeah. So Emmitt Smith's rushing record is 18,355 yards. Did a little math. If you average 1,500 yards over the next 8 seasons, you could break what some consider an unbreakable record. Do you think that's possible for you?
Nobody's breaking that record. Unless they come in their first 2 years and go over like 1,500 yards in the first 4 years. I mean, I don't really see nobody breaking that record. I just don't see it. But maybe somebody will, but I know I can't break it, so I'm not even going to think that.
Like I say, in 8 seasons, if you break that record, I'm coming back with you about that. But
yeah, pray for me, please. Pray for me.
I will. So I want to talk a little bit about the AFC Chiefs Ravens. What's all going on? So given that Phillip Rivers retired, Deshaun Watson is asking for a trade out of Houston, and the Jags will likely have a rookie quarterback starting next year. What does that mean for the Titans in the divisional race next season?
I mean, that'd be better for us because every year we play him, it's always tough. It always comes down to the wire. That's the type of player Deshaun is, and I know Deshaun, so I wish the best and whatever happens for him. But like I said, that's better for us that he's out of the division. We definitely appreciate it.
Were you happy that he kind of wanted out? Like, have you heard anything? Has he talked to you about the situation in Houston at all?
No, I haven't talked to him, but we know what type of league this is. It's a tough league, and it's all business. So really, I just wish the best for him. Whether it's in Houston or wherever it is, I just want to go to the best situation so he can go out there and ball out.
Tre'Davious White of the Bills said after their loss in the AFC Championship game that in order to reach the Super Bowl in the AFC, it's clear you have to go through Kansas City. So really the only question that matters, I guess, this offseason is what do you guys, the Titans, need to do this offseason to be able to compete with Kansas City?
Yeah, I think that, a lot of guys are just hungry on how the season ended and motivated. And I'm sure every guy going to offseason working hard. And as far as, free agency and the draft and all those things go, I'm sure that our GM and everybody, who takes control of that do great things as far as getting guys to help this team and make us a better team going into 2021. And just looking forward to getting started whenever that time comes. But I know the guys who are on the roster now are very motivated and are looking forward to be able to get back at it, but I'm just working hard during this off season.
So before I let you go, I got some rapid fire questions for you. First one, what do you remember from Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win back in 2002?
I don't even know. I was watching Super Bowl then. Oh boy, that's crazy. He's been playing a long time. I can't even tell you really.
I was in second grade, so I don't remember anything either. Don't feel bad.
Nothing.
What was your first memory of Tom Brady then in the Super Bowl? Do you have a first memory of Tom Brady?
It's funny you ask because I did watch whenever they played the Eagles in the Super Bowl. That was actually in Jacksonville. So I'm from that area, so that was actually cool to be able to have a Super Bowl down here when they beat the Eagles. So. And I think Coach Rabel was on that team. I think so. So
that's crazy.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Who is going to end up going down in history as having the better career, Mahomes or Brady?
That's right now. That's the easiest question. It's just Brady right now. Mahomes he's still cooking, and he's been to 3 AFC championships 3 years in a row, and it was his second Super Bowl going to it. Super Bowl MVP. Is this his third year full-time starter?
I think so. Yeah, 3.
It's hard to say, but right now the resume, as far as quarterbacks and nobody's beating Tom Brady right now.
Yeah. What advice would you give your younger self looking back before you got drafted? What do you know now that you wish you knew then?
I think I appreciate my whole journey. My mindset always has been the same as always work hard, always wanting to get better, always stay hungry, never be complacent. I just think that, everybody when they come in the NFL journey is different. And, mine might not have started off where I wanted to, but it's gotten me where I am today. So I'm just thankful for the whole journey. I wouldn't really change anything.
Yeah. And any specific advice to Najee Harris as he goes through this process? Obviously, a big reputation to uphold as a Bama running back.
Yeah, I would tell him to enjoy the whole process, be yourself, be who got him to where he is today. He has all the tools, and take it all in. His dream is finally coming true, and enjoy every moment.
Welcome back to Weekly Pulse. The NHL has been at the forefront of implementing safety protocols during this pandemic. Minnesota Wild GM Bill Guerin joined us to talk about what he has done to help keep players safe, as well as some changes you'll notice in the game as a whole.
We're trying to use common sense and stay within the guidelines of what's been given to us. And I think for the most part, our team's done a very good job. I think our league's done a very good job. I don't think there's any controlling this 100%. I mean, it's impossible, but the league has taken every safety precaution out there that you could imagine. Everybody's wearing masks. You try to social distance. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. There's only a certain amount of people in certain rooms. We don't congregate in big crowds. We don't eat together. Things like that. It's definitely been a big change, but something that I think we've gotten used to, and I don't hear any complaints. So I think it's great. Our team is we're very comfortable doing what we're doing. The players are more skilled than ever right now. They're faster than ever. The game is incredibly fast, and it's just such in a good spot. I think our league is stronger than ever. I think you can see how our return to play last season was such a success, and getting back on the ice this year. Our leadership at the league is incredible. I think the strength of our league is just in a place that it's never been before. I think everybody's seen the damage that head injuries can have, the long-term damage they can have on a person's life, and while we still do see the odd scrap here and there, that it's something that I think had to happen with head injuries and stuff. We've just we've evolved, and I think we continue to do that. And the protection and the health of the players is extremely important. Well, as much as the fighting, I think back in the early 2000s, there was a lot of hitting from behind. There were a lot of elbows. There were a lot of guys getting hurt by dirty hits. And I think I think like USA Hockey, Hockey Canada, starting at the grassroots level, have done a great job of educating the kids on how to hit, where to hit, when to hit, and the meaning behind the physical play. It's to get the puck, and it's not just to hurt somebody on the other team. And then I think the NHL has done a great job, and the players too. They're still policing themselves to some extent, but I think they're more respectful and more responsible. And because of that, I think we're seeing less injury. And like I said, that's important. Any time players jump out there and somebody's hurt, you have to remember that that's somebody's husband or somebody's son or brother, and it's important. We have to protect the players.
That does it for this week's episode of Weekly Pulse. Next week, it's all about the Super Bowl. We'll have tons and tons of great interviews with current and former athletes, and we can't wait to have you all join along with us. Until next time, I'm Mackenzie Salmon. Thanks for watching. Hey sports fans, if you want to see more videos like this, check out some of our other ones right here. And if you like what you see, make sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more from USA Today Sports.